Hello, rooted listeners. I'm excited about this topic today. We're going to be breaking down NIL deals from a sport psychology perspective, talking about the cons, talking about the pros, because NIL has completely changed the landscape of college sports. For some athletes, it's really empowering, it's amazing, and for others, it adds a lot of pressure that they weren't really prepared for. So today, I'm going to talk about the pros, cons, and what I prepare athletes for before they sign a deal. Let's hop right into the pros here. I have three main ones for you. Pro number one is that it increases autonomy and identity ownership. So NIL allows athletes to really own their story, own their brand, and not just their stats. I've seen a lot of athletes come from poor communities and had to overcome a lot of adversity where the odds of making it weren't necessarily in their favor. It's really inspiring. And they've been able to use their new platform through NIL to tell their story, which again is so inspiring. And they even give back to their community and to the kids who may need some extra help. So when done well, NIL can actually strengthen an athlete's sense of identity and confidence because they are choosing what they stand for. A lot of them use this platform to give glory to God and make sure they're always recognizing Him and bringing praise back to Him. I always have a conversation about values with my athletes to make sure they are very clear on who they are and what they want to stand for before all that money comes in. And the increased autonomy comes in because this is their own deal. So it's something that they can take a lot of control over, which is really cool too. So pro one is that increases their independence and their identity. Pro number two is that it can increase motivation and validation, of course, when used properly. So NIL can reinforce the effort and consistency when motivation is rooted internally. So for some athletes, the NIL validates all that hard work that they've been doing. It's like a really nice reward, but it cannot be the sole reason why they do their sport. It will turn their sport into more of a job if they are only motivated by the money. If that is their only motivation, then they're probably going to be pretty freaking miserable. Because 4 years in college, 3, 4, 5, however long they play in college, that's a long commitment to make. And if you don't love it, if that's not your main motivator, then it's going to be hard to wake up and go to practice and have that demanding schedule every single day. But having the NIL deal as an extra incentive, almost like a bonus present, heck yeah, that's awesome. Run with it. Let that give you a little extra fire. So I'm always talking with my athletes about their motivators for playing and defining those internal successors that exist when the deal does happen or doesn't happen. And pro number three is that NIL deals can really develop other life skills for athletes. There's a lot of extra time that athletes have to give when working in an NIL deal. So this forces athletes to work on their time management, their communication, boundaries, setting those boundaries and professionalism with just how they're presenting themselves, especially on social media, especially in the classroom, walking around campus and all the interviews that they're probably doing. NIL can be a real world classroom for life after sport. It gives you a lot of connections that you may not have had otherwise. And connections are gateways to jobs and other avenues when you retire from your sport one day. And it can provide you with a lot of opportunities to do more good for the world than just what you're doing in your sport. So to help my athletes prepare for all these other life skills, I just make sure that they're really prioritizing the non-negotiables, like their training, recovery, faith, family, friends, their academics. And then the NIL deals and the connections and the interviews, those are coming right after their non-negotiables. So I like to write a list out with them. What are the things that come first? And then where can I make time for this other job in a sense? Because having an NIL deal is kind of like having a second job for them. So pros, again, increases their autonomy and identity, can really help them define what values they want to stand for. It can be used as an extra motivator and it develops a lot of other life skills that are transferable outside of sport when they retire one day. Let's get into the cons. These are where I see athletes often struggle the most with NIL deals. The biggest one I would say is just their performance pressure increases. NIL deals can cause athletes to feel more pressure naturally because money changes the perception, especially after a bad game. They might feel like they have to play and live up to a certain standard every single game. And this can turn into a vicious cycle of playing for money and respect and constantly trying to prove oneself and redeem themselves for a bad performance. And athletes can often feel like they're no longer playing just for the team, they're playing for the deal. So, what I talk with my athletes about to help them separate performance identity from business outcomes is who are they outside of their sport? How to use this NIL as a source of motivation versus pressure, and getting them to ground back down in the process that led them to that end ideal in the first place. It's really easy to get caught up in outcomes when there is an NIL deal and constantly being talked about, and athletes can really lose sight of what got them there in the first place, which is probably just their hard work, maybe how just great of a teammate they are, maybe their just aggressiveness. Instead of just focusing on using their strengths, now they're focusing on impressing other people and playing for the money. That kind of brings us into con number two is this external validation trap. The followers, likes, and deals, all those external things can become the scoreboard for athletes. So they can start playing for these things instead of playing to just compete and win. When other people's attention becomes the measure of success, confidence can become very fragile because you can't control attention and respect from other people. And if that's what you're constantly playing for, you are going to constantly be losing and feel like a failure. You could have the best game of your life, and there are people who are still going to say a whole lot of negative things. So that's a lose lose every single time. So I'm really helping athletes anchor their confidence in more of those controllables and not all of those engagement metrics on social media. Another con is NIL deals can be a big distraction and can conflict with other roles in the athlete's life. So they're constantly balancing athlete versus influencer versus being a student. And if an athlete has not practiced boundaries, if they don't know how to set good boundaries, then NIL can quietly and quickly pull energy away from their performance. They might get so caught up in that influencer role, they can neglect responsibilities in other areas. And maybe what led them to the NIL deal was just how hard of a worker they are and how much time and effort they put in outside of their sport too, just like in the recovery process or making sure they're sane and getting extra reps. And then they slowly start to lose that. But all that extra time and effort they put in, that was a main source of their confidence. It helped them feel more prepared. And then before they know it, they're not feeling very confident, but they've completely changed up their process because they were so distracted by the NIL deal. It can be really helpful to time block the NIL responsibilities just like they do their training sessions. So what I tell my athletes is don't be getting on your social media at all times of the day just to randomly scroll and see what's up, see what people are saying. Set a scheduled time for it, just like you do for your homework. Like, okay, I have 3 to 5 to do my homework, and then I have to go to a later practice after that, or I have lift from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. and then I have like 7:30 to 10 to be doing homework and then class, and then okay, I have an hour here to get on my social media and check up on NIL stuff or talk with my agent, whatever you need to do. So designate a specific time of day for it. That way you can ease a transition in and out of that role. Big con number four is just how NIL deals can impact team dynamics with all the comparison. There can be a lot of envy and comparing going on within NIL deals because unequal deals can affect the locker room chemistry. The comparison is already hard in sport. And the NIL deals can just amplify it, especially when a lot of NIL deals, more commonly in female sports, can be heavily based on looks. And that can cause a lot of tension on the team where some players might be wishing negative upon others or just feeling resentment towards their teammates, which does not transfer to good team chemistry and teamwork on the court or field. When working with athletes who are very focused on others, I always try to revisit that team first mentality And for athletes with bigger NIL deals, it's always great to make sure they're using their gifts to help and serve other people. I encourage them to always ask, what can I be doing for my teammates versus thinking about their own performance, their mistakes, and how they might appear to others. Because let's be honest, those are not very likable traits. So the NIL itself, it's not good or bad. It's very neutral. What matters is how prepared an athlete is mentally before stepping into it. When athletes know their why, their values, boundaries, NIL can be such a great tool and a gateway to other amazing opportunities. But without that foundation, it can become a big distraction to their performance. And the goal is not to completely avoid the NIL pressure, it's just to be ready for it and view it as more of a very cool opportunity and something that you worked hard for. So if you're an athlete navigating NIL or getting prepared, or maybe you're a parent or coach supporting an athlete who is in an NIL deal, the preparation matters just as much as the opportunity. If you think they need some guidance with this, I have helped athletes navigate these demands and pressures. So please reach out to me, Georgia at rootedsportspsycoach.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next week.